I'm Melissa Torres.
And I'm Marmy Leach.
And this is Movin with Mel and Marm.
This is actually episode 18 of our podcast.
Wow, we're like legit now.
We're legal. We can buy a lottery ticket and cigarettes. I've actually never purchased a legit lottery ticket. I've only purchased a scratch off.
Really?
I don't know why. Like, why haven't I haven't lived.
Yeah.
What's wrong with me? So I was scrolling the gram yesterday and I saw this video of this woman who says she took away her formal dining room. She said, to hell with the formal dining room. I'm turning this into some functional spaces. And she transformed the room into 3 different rooms.
Okay.
Let's see. It's a butler's pantry, a mudroom, and a laundry room.
Okay.
And they all kind of connect. And then the butler's pantry connects to the kitchen.
Okay.
And I thought it was genius.
Yeah. I mean, I'm trying to picture like how to access each one of these spaces. Because is it by the front door?
It is by the front door. So you have to keep in mind, it's probably like an older home in an older neighborhood where everything's a little bit quirky already.
Right.
Layout. Because you're just, when these homes were built, they weren't built with the way we live in mind. So.
Right. It was just different. Everything was very separate.
Yeah, but who knows? Maybe they don't even have a garage.
True.
So it's kind of like it's a little bit closed off, I think, to like make sure there's not a lot of like clutter, but it looked really cool. And I was like, you know what? Nobody cares about formal dining rooms anymore.
It is true that they're underutilized. A lot of people, I mean, I am very traditional that I love a formal dining room, but they don't get used.
Yeah. Well, I just mean people want a dining room with a big dining table, but they don't necessarily need the square footage that the traditional formal dining room offers.
Right.
In a home.
Right. Like even a lot of new construction, they'll do like one larger dining area where you can put a big table, but you're not having like complete separate rooms.
Yeah. I've even seen people turn what was the formal, because they have enough space in the like great room area for a table, they'll turn a formal dining room that was in the front either into an office or a playroom. So I think that's interesting.
Yep. Yeah. In our neighborhood, so like the 1960s builds, we have a lot of the stacked formals. That's a very common floor plan. And I think it's been several years, like when people started taking the smaller of those and changing it into an office and then leaving the dining. And now I think people are moving away from even dining too.
Yeah. Like you did that in your house, right?
Well, in our house, we have our formal dining, and then beyond that, we switched. So the formal dining was the smaller space, and then the formal living was the larger space. But we wanted a large dining room table, so we switched them and then have our dining room in the front and then like a sitting room library. We call it a library because we did built-in shelves with a ton of books.
It is like a library. It's very cool.
Yeah, I do love it. It just does not get used as much. So I think if we were to do it again, I think I would take like the library section and make it into an office, which we still could utilize it as an office. Just put like doors, but I would have done the built-ins a little bit differently for an office.
Yeah. Well, and that's so true. Like I always, whenever I have a buyer and we're walking into a house where it's still got that formal living and formal dining and then a wall and then behind it is the family room.
Yep.
I'm always like, look, like turn this into an office and then make the formal living area a dining room. Because then you're utilizing the space a lot more.
Right.
And you're actually creating an extra room for yourself too.
Right.
Because nobody really cares about having a formal living room anymore.
Right. I mean, they get used during parties.
Rosie?
You think there's a squirrel out front?
My dog is barking. I don't know. Little diva. We are trying to record, Rosie. We're back to it after my dog interrupted us. Well, this video it really stuck out in my mind because it took that, because I think her formal dining room was really large, and it was a different way than I've ever seen anybody transform that space before. So I thought it was really cool. So she had another video. Across the hall, like from the front door, was the formal living room, which was also very large.
Okay.
So she split that in half and turned it into an office and a formal dining room.
Oh, wow. Those were big spaces.
Yeah. So I thought that was really interesting how in a way, everybody wants to open up, but she actually closed stuff off a little bit more just to make it more functional.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think there's a balance between open concept and separate spaces.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think everything has to be completely open to be really modern and desirable.
Yeah.
I do love, like, when you walk into a very clean model home or staged home, and it's like you can see the kitchen and the family room, and there's a big dining space. Like, I do love that when thinking about, like, entertaining. But then thinking about, like, okay, right now, are there dirty dishes in my sink? Are there, like, stuff that I haven't put away? When people come over unannounced, would I want that kind of open space?
It definitely makes it harder to feel clean. Like, I feel like if you have a super open house, you have to be really good at keeping it clean.
Yes.
A lady who used to clean for my mom used to always say, the fastest way to make your house feel more clean is just put the dishes in the dishwasher and make your bed. Just do those two things over anything, and it'll instantly feel, even if it's not cleaner, it'll feel a lot cleaner than it was before.
Yep.
Also, I've seen with formal living rooms, people adding like a game room area too.
Oh, yeah.
That's really popular, the mahjong tables.
Yes.
People love them.
Can you imagine, like, thinking about, okay, when in 30 years or whatever, when people are, like, walking through the houses and being like, oh, they have, this that was super popular now that is going to be so outdated. And,
like a music room.
Yep.
People used to have a music room.
Mm-hmm.
Do people take music lessons anymore? Not as much.
Not as much. I tried to get Maddie into it. It never really worked out for her, but I have thought about putting the boys in piano.
Yeah.
It's just a lot of work.
We had our instruments in the formal living room. It was a huge formal living room. And so the piano was there and the harp was there.
Who played the harp?
I did.
Really?
Yeah.
Could you still play?
I can't really remember how to read the music.
Okay, we've learned something new.
I can play Taka Taka Jump Jump.
That's a harp song?
No, it's like no, like if you played Suzuki, you know what I'm talking about. Taka Taka Jump Jump. That's like
I did Suzuki I played the violin.
Yeah, you probably learned Taka Taka Jump Jump.
I don't remember that.
And ichi ni sa shi. That's how you bow.
I don't remember that.
Itchy knee. You like itch your knee. That's how you bow.
I don't remember. I played the violin for probably like a year and a half.
Yeah.
2 years maybe.
I did
Not
harp
long.
for like 7 or 8 years probably.
Okay, so here's the question. Did you guys already have a harp?
We already had a harp.
Okay, so it wasn't like, okay, Mom, I want to play the harp.
No, it wasn't like that. So my aunt played the harp.
Okay.
And she had multiple harps. And when you're a kid, you play a different harp than when you're an adult. Mm-hmm. So I played a harp that had, like, to change the key, you, like, put a lever up. But for an adult, you push a pedal with your feet. And it's a little harder because you have to push the pedal in, like, a lot of different ways. A harp is basically a piano standing up straight. Oh. It's literally a piano, because if you look inside a piano, there's strings and the keys just hit the strings. Well, with a harp, you're just hitting the strings with your fingers.
Got it.
It's the same thing. So if I would learn to play a song on the harp, I could probably play it on the piano. It's just I didn't really know how to, like, do the hand positioning.
Right.
But it would be the same thing.
Yeah.
So we had a small harp that was my aunt's that I used. Mm-hmm. And then when it was time to get a big kid harp, my parents were like, you can get a car or a harp. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to get a car. Because they're really expensive for the pedal harps.
Really?
Oh, yeah. They're like really expensive. And a harp is not an easy instrument to like transport somewhere. Like whenever we went to go with the group I was in, whenever we went to go play performances, there was always a piano there, but there was never a harp. So we had to like lug the harp everywhere because it's just not as popular. Like you have a piano everywhere. So that was like kind of annoying to do that like on a weekend.
Right.
As well. But my aunt still plays. She's like very, very good.
Well, that's awesome.
She plays for weddings. She played in my wedding.
Oh, that's special.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's so funny. I never knew.
Yep. More you know.
Yeah.
So we never had a music room, but we had them all in the formal living room.
Yeah, that's where I grew up in a like 90s house. So it had the formal dining on one side, formal living on the other side, and we had the piano and would like store everything else in the formal living.
Yeah.
And that's really, it got used for practicing music. And then the church that I grew up in, we would have like, it was kind of separated into like, they would assign you another family to come and like visit you to build community. So like when they would come over, we would sit in the formal living. Yeah. But otherwise, it never got used.
Yeah. Whenever we would have people over, like a party or family over or something, yeah, it would be in the formal living room. But other than that, and Santa came down that chimney, not the family room chimney.
Well, we only had one chimney.
Yeah. I don't even think the other chimney worked, but there was a fireplace. So Santa preferred the formals.
Now, the house that you grew up in was like an older house, right?
It was like built in the 30s.
Okay.
So it's older.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, compared to like Dallas, like that's.
Yeah, like I guess 30s is older.
Yeah.
But it wasn't a Tudor. It was a style. We don't have a lot of that in Dallas. It's more like early American.
Okay.
Like 2-story square brick house.
Okay.
So.
Nice.
Yeah. It was cute. My parents still have it.
Yeah.
So that's kind of fun to visit.
Yeah, that's special to still, like my parents had moved a lot. So we don't still have, and I don't know, it was a very like normal 90s.
Yeah.
House.
I think my mom will never sell it because she grew up in the house too.
Yeah, that.
And my grandfather grew up in the house too.
How rare is that?
I know, it's so random.
Like 3 generations.
Yeah.
That is really special. But yes, people are in their homes more.
Yeah.
You know, I think that COVID really changed things.
Yes.
And changed things forever. So that people are just, they're home more and utilizing more space.
People work from home, so they're like home a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. I totally agree. So that's just something to keep in mind, like when you're looking at houses too, is making sure that, hey, yeah, this formal dining room is taking up a lot of space, but there's a lot we can rework here.
Right. You don't have to utilize something the way that it's been utilized before. You can make it fit your personal needs.
Yeah. And you can always get an architect to help you like design that. Because it's good getting an architect because they'll help you think of things that you probably wouldn't have thought of before. Like spacing things out properly.
True.
Yeah.
And you always have to like keep in mind, okay, you need space for like the inside of the wall too. Like it's not just
so true. Oh my gosh.
Like when we were working out our bathroom remodel, it's like, okay, we have this much space, but actually you don't have that much space because you have to like have the insides of the wall.
Yeah.
And it takes up, when you're working with like a small amount of space, it's a big deal.
How big is the inside of the wall typically?
I would say like, I don't know, 6 inches.
Oh, that's bigger than I thought.
Yeah, because you have a 2x4 and then you have sheetrock on both sides. So it's probably more like 5 inches.
Yeah. Well, to anyone out there listening, we would love if you've done something really interesting with your formal living or formal dining to make your house more functional. Send it to us. We'd love to see.
Yep.